Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to go over EA's first roster update for NHL 24. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I will be representing the ugly. NHL 24, as you all know, is in a very, very weird spot right now. I have already had a moment where I did uninstall this game, only to then reinstall it for the purpose of making a video talking about how bad this game is, and really before deciding, I don't want to be the one who overly dwells on the negative. Like, I'll speak to this game negatively when I want to. I don't want every video to be that, though. Every tweet to be that. So, decided against it. Made the dumb mistake of playing eShow with friends yesterday. Outside of hip-checking the shit out of people and landing 20-plus hip checks a game, there's not too much fun to be had there. NHL 24 is in a really weird spot. All my franchise mode plans have been put on ice. No pun intended. My Be a Pro plans might never be fully realized. But I do want to follow along with this game's trajectory, whether that be a positive or a negative one, as we go through the next few months. And it starts today with this roster update. Again, it'll be out for everybody on every console there. October 16th roster update, and we are going to go over all of it. Although, in fairness, there isn't as much to talk about as I think a lot of us were preferring there to be, or hoping for there to be. So let's talk about the NHL side of things. I'm not going to go through every team because there hasn't been significant changes to overalls or attributes or anything like that at this stage. For the most part, it is heavily transactional, meaning you will have basically, for the most part, there might be a call-up or send-down too that are a little bit off, but the NHL rosters are basically the NHL rosters. So that is promising, and one part of that first update that a lot of people wait for. They also wait for rookies to be added in, such as Arizona's Logan Cooley. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, all these new rookies, unless they were in the game previously, do not currently have a player picture. Now, I don't know for sure, like if NHL.com is the source that they go off of, or what their outlet is for these player pictures. It's worth noting NHL.com has a headshot up for Logan Cooley on his player profile page. So I don't know. Obviously, it's disappointing when they don't have the technology, I guess, like they do for Be a Pro to generate player faces for whatever reason. So that's kind of annoying. Not the biggest deal to a lot of people, but it is relatively annoying. And obviously, I'm barely going to talk about the attributes or anything like that because, oh, goodness. I will say I'm shocked he only has 70 checking. Most players do seem to just kind of get general attributes. So, hey, I guess that's one positive. And obviously, too, there will be a lot of players, Zach Benson, a good example, that were in junior last year that are on their proper clubs if they had made the team at the start of the season. It's not just Zach Benson. You can go to Chicago. Connor Bedard is there. Obviously, still does not have a gold X factor. The reason for that, in my opinion, and I'm not saying this as a matter of fact, just my opinion, I don't think they gave him a gold because I think they wanted to use him to showcase that players can develop gold X factors within franchise mode. I just think instead of giving him like a goal, giving him gold like they should have, they're using him as an example of franchise mode's success in that regard. So that's a little bit disappointing. Kevin Korchinski's also on the team as well. Love my former Seattle Thunderbirds. Colorado is the next interesting team here because actually we'll quickly jump to Toronto because I noted in the last update that Jake Muzzin still had a good rating. They did drop Jake Muzzin down to the whole LTIR status. I wish they would just get rid of the players in general, but they did drop him down. However, Gabriel Landeskog is still here. Now, I know what some people are going to say, oh, but he's supposed to come back next season. But we don't know that for sure. He missed basically, all of last season. He's going to miss all of this season. I don't see the harm in dropping Gabriel Landeskog down to that 70 overall and then bumping him back up if he does come back. But his future is in a hell of a lot of doubt. It's not quite to the level of, say, there's Jake Voracek, a Shea Weber. It's not quite to that level, but it's pretty damn close. Something I can edit eventually if I deem this game worthy of editing. Columbus, of course, Adam Fantilli has been added in as well. You can kind of see the blanketed kind of ratings that they gave these guys, really, if you think about it. No abilities for Fantilli either, despite him being the 3rd overall pick. That's a little bit surprising. And actually for Anaheim, no Leo Carlson. No Leo Carlson. I actually just noticed that, given the whole 2nd and 3rd overall pick deal. I hope, I'm about to find out for myself, I hope he is still on Urbro. That would be nice. Please be there. Please. I'm looking right at him. I was expecting him to be further down. So I didn't put him on the Ducks for whatever reason. He's on Urbro, though. So that's cool. Who knows? That one doesn't make too much sense now, does it? It's also worth noting about Columbus, and he's not the only player to be set up this way. Patrick Laine, much like William Nylander, should probably have center, and Laine does not, despite the fact he was known to be playing center at the start of the season. So, yeah. He also has 65 faceoffs. So, I mean, you could argue, does he deserve that much better in terms of faceoff rating when he's improving at center? But at the same time, give him a 70 and just why not see what he can do? And I mean, he's at a 42% for faceoffs so far this season, which isn't stellar. I don't know. Maybe I would put it closer to a 65, but again, doesn't have center as an option. I think you could go with at least a 70. Give him a chance, We move ahead. Likes of the Florida Panthers. Again, they have their younger guy is here. Good old Mackey, former 1st-round pick. Do they have his draft info in? Good, they do. Mackey Smoskevich is in the game. And then, like I said, for the most part, it's just proper transactions, stuff like that. Nothing too crazy. I talked about Jake Muzzin. Vegas is another interesting one. Robin Lehner doesn't have that nuked overall either, and I don't really know why at this stage. He's kind of in that Landeskog category. He might be closer to done than Landeskog, given he's a couple years older and had an injury that, he wouldn't be the first goalie based off his current injuries to have their career ended early. So I'm a little bit surprised to see him there too. But for the most part, it's better at the NHL level, aside from, my obvious complaints about overalls, potentials, and the like. We'll go to junior next because thankfully the CHL, the 3 leagues, have been cleaned up. You won't see any 21, 22-year-old players here. They have properly cleaned this up is the only thing and the only way I can really think the phrase at this point, which is nice. It happens every year, of course. It's still not perfect. You might have just seen someone that we're about to talk about in a minute who should be on a different team. This guy as well. But yeah, it's, again, cleaned up. It's better. It's good. Still needs a lot of work, but it's at least cleaned up. But the reason why I can't deem this as an overly positive update, or one where if you really care about realistic rosters that you should be excited to use, is because the AHL isn't cleaned up yet. Abbotsford is a good example on their own. They have a new goalie named Tolopio, who has played 2 games, was in the Allsvenskan last year. He's not on Abbotsford. There's no Philip Johansson. For forwards, there are guys like Josh Bloom, and apologies for the pronunciation, but Dmitry Zlodiev. Although neither of those two have played a game, but Bloom was in junior last year. Max Sasson is another player that's missing. He's played 2 games so far this year and played 7 last year. So what that says to me is they still have that ongoing paperwork licensing issue with a good amount of teams. Bakersfield has plenty of examples. I kind of showed Jaden Grube there. Again, apologies for pronunciations. Max Vanner was in the WHL. There's no Matvey Petrov, who have all played at least a game in the AHL this season. So that's the big thing. The AHL right now, for as cleaned up as the W has been, the AHL is going to have a lot of missing players, at least until their next update after this. So if you care about having the AHL be accurate for the sake of, well, what a picture there for Calvin Pickard. If you care about the AHL being accurate, which you probably should. I mean, it affects the franchise mode quite a bit, not even just for dudes who aren't under contract, but for dudes who are, and have, the butterfly effect that can have. I can't really recommend EA's provided rosters right now for that reason, especially when, again, there will be people, whether you're on Xbox, PS5. I always had people tell me that the Xbox creators have their preferred rosters, but they're stuck on PlayStation. Take a look, because despite my issues with this game and call it freaking abstinence at this point from franchise mode and roster editing, even though, trust me, the freaking urge is there. It's what I like to do. But yeah, I'm just not going to do it at the time being. But support those custom roster creators, man. Do it. There are still people putting in tremendous work. I've shouted out the likes of Vasi. Tactics, I think, is still putting out rosters for this year on the Xbox side of things. Support people that are keeping up with it, but I reached the point where it's like, nope, I'm going to go do something that's fun because it shouldn't be that much work to enjoy this game. And that's just where it is for me right now. But like I said, I'm going to keep following along with all the news in regards to NHL 24 and all the updates. And I hope to get to a point at some point this year where we're playing franchise mode on this game, be a pro, getting the roster editing done. But for right now, it's just not worth it for me.